Great. So welcome, everyone. My name is Kathleen Reardon. I'm the CEO of the New Hampshire Center for Nonprofits, and I'm thrilled to welcome you all here to our information session about the Hoffman Haas Fellowship. Let's go and talk about what we're going to talk about today. Oh, great. Thanks, Duncan, and everyone here. Excellent. Starting the chats and introducing ourselves as we're getting going. So, yep, that's the first item of our agenda, is doing these introductions via the chat. We'll talk a little bit about what the New Hampshire Center for Nonprofits does. We'll give you an overview of introduction to the fellowship. You'll have an opportunity to hear from a fellow and mentor who've participated in the past. We'll give you more details about the program and how to apply. And at any time, you can ask questions in the chat. We'll be trying to pause at various times throughout the session as well. And there will be time at the end for questions. So some of you may know this New Hampshire Center for Nonprofits. Our mission is to strengthen and give voice to our nonprofit sector through leadership, collaboration, and learning opportunities. We are a membership organization, and our membership represents really the diversity of the nonprofit sector in the state. We have more than 800 members, which includes 700 plus nonprofit organizations, plus individuals and corporations who care about the role of nonprofits in our communities. These items here are our strategic plan, our strategic priorities, which we're moving on from. That's okay, Karen, that's fine. Moving on. I always find it really helpful. I know many of you are familiar with nonprofit organizations, and that's part of why you're here, is to learn a little bit more about how you might be involved in them. But I always find it helpful to talk a little bit about New Hampshire's nonprofit sector. Here in New Hampshire, we rely on nonprofits extensively for a wide array of services. They really care for people of all ages, the mental and physical health. They enrich our lives and steward our cultural and natural resources. There's a lot of different kinds of nonprofits. We are all united in a commitment to serving the public good or the common good. And so this nonprofit title is kind of misleading, because it's, that's a tax entity. But again, it's all about making our communities better. And, we are businesses, but our profits go back into advancing the mission, not enriching shareholders. We're enriching our communities. In New Hampshire, we must have a minimum of 5 independent members of our board. Every board must have a minimum, and most boards have even more than that. So that makes the role of the board really important for nonprofits there. And we'll get into a little bit more later on about what boards do. I think I'm ready to turn it over to you, Karen.
Hi, everybody, and welcome. So glad that you're here and that you are interested in serving on a board. So we're going to launch our first poll. What interests you about board service?
Karen, can you enter more than one item?
I'm not sure.
Yes, you can. I did multiple.
Excellent. Thank you. So when we get close to 100%, we'll share those results. And I cannot see the poll on my screen, so
I can see it, Karen.
Great.
So looks like a lot of people are interested in making a difference, contributing their skills, experience, and/or ideas. Both of those are above 70%. Enhancing leadership and governance skills comes in next at 41%. And then we've got quite a few that are in the 32% to be part of something, to have fun, to influence change. So great mix of reasons. And I suspect a lot of people did select more than one item.
Excellent. So board service provides you with the chance to connect with new communities, develop your leadership skills, and make meaningful impact. And nonprofits benefit from your fresh energy, your innovative approaches, and your experience. We are going to launch the second poll, which is asking you, have you ever served on a board? And Kathleen, when that one's ready, if you wouldn't mind.
Yep. So 35% said none yet. 16% have been on 1 to 2 years, and a full 49% have more than 2 years of experience.
Fantastic. So the Hoffman Haas Fellowship is for both fellows and mentors. So fellows are individuals with a strong desire to be effective civic leaders, and they have a wide range of professional and personal experiences, and they may have no or some board experience. And mentors are individuals who have extensive board experience and who want to share their experiences and wisdom with a group of fellows. Serving as a mentor helps to ensure the next generation of board leaders have the tools they need to effectively govern and maximize their impact. So where the heck did the Hoffman Haas Fellowship name come from? Well, back in 2014, two New Hampshire philanthropists, John Hoffman and Tom Haas, gave some seed money to start the kickstart the Hoffman Haas Fellowship. And since that time, more than 200 fellows and 100 mentors have completed the program. So why serve on a board? Well, there's many reasons. Nonprofits are facing complex issues. Demand for services is increasing, and there are more competition for staff, volunteers, and donors. And boards who reflect their communities contribute their ability to best serve and strengthen them. Also, boards attract and develop leaders. So experienced, long-serving board members are looking to pass the baton as they plan for the future and reach the end of the terms, and new board members bring new ideas and experiences, paving the way for a strong future. That's influencing the future, sorry about that. And for developing leaders, board members want to give back to their communities and develop new skills that will benefit them personally and professionally. And lastly, they contribute to a stronger workforce. Employers are looking for professional development opportunities such as the Hoffman Haas Fellowship, and they value the skills that their employees learn in the fellowship. And employees are better prepared to take on leadership positions, are more appreciative of diverse perspectives and backgrounds, and they expand their networks. So I would like to, in a minute, call on some of our alumni to share a little bit about their experience. First, I am going to start with Shannon. So as a participant in the first cohort of Hoffman Haas Fellows, it is exciting to watch the program continuously evolve and grow future generations of nonprofit board leaders in the state. Participation in the Hoffman Haas Fellowship is essential for anyone who aspires to effectively use their talents and skills to be an impactful board member and truly improve their community. The program also provides meaningful connections and fosters long-lasting relationships for fellows and mentors alike. Shannon was in our first class of fellows. And is Deborah here and ready to share a little bit about her experience?
Yes, I am. Hi, everyone.
Excellent.
First, thank you for inviting me. I'm very excited to talk about this. I was a fellow last year, And it was an amazing, amazing, amazing experience. I wanted to be on a board for many years, but I didn't feel like I had enough information. I didn't feel confident. I didn't know what I would do. I didn't know how you chose to be on a board. And when I saw the opportunity to become a fellow, I thought, I can't say no. This is what I really want to do. My heart is here. And so I put my name in it, and I had such an amazing experience. I feel more confident. I feel the information that I received on governance and with how to understand finance, even if you're not a financial person, it really made me feel a lot more comfortable deciding to be on a nonprofit board. And I don't think that I would have, if I hadn't had this experience, I don't think I would be as effective as I am. I am currently on a board for the Mount Kearsarge Museum, Indian Museum, and I have brought so much more than I ever would have had I not joined the fellowship. I'm more comfortable speaking and sharing ideas and asking questions and collaborating and joining committees, which it's one thing to be on a board. It's like, oh, now I have to be on a committee. It's great. It's an amazing experience. My fellow cohorts were amazing, and we were all at different places. I had no experience. A couple had, they were just getting their experiences, and just being in a group where we were all at different levels it fostered great conversation for me as a newbie, and to watch my other cohorts who were in it start feeling more confident and showing up and being comfortable on a board was amazing. The mentors were amazing. I know I keep saying amazing, but this is a great program, honestly. The mentors were always available, really shared their experiences, their insights, and they're there for you after you leave the program, which is really, really amazing. Because it's, sometimes you're going to have moments where you're not feeling comfortable. So to know that you have a mentor you can reach out to, it kind of relieves the pressure off of you, knowing that you have somebody who's in your back, who has your back. So if you are truly interested in being on a board, high recommendation for being a part of the fellowship. It's not too much time, just a little bit of time per month, but that little bit of dedicated time can impact so many lives. And it's important work, and we're needed. There's a lot of nonprofits who are like desperate for people to just show up and share their talents and help them grow and be better than they are. So I really, really do hope that you jump into this and know that this is something that will make you into a powerful board member, but also give you extra benefits in your own life, your personal desires, and knowing that you're helping people in an organization is amazing. And last but not least, they feed you there, and the food, the dinners are amazing, and you get to actually have yes, you're doing the work, but you actually get to connect and network with other people, and having food on top of that, it's amazing. So highly, highly, highly recommend the program. Thank you so much.
Yep, thanks for chatting. I have a quick question for you. So how did you end up on the Kearsarge Indian Museum? How did you learn about that?
So the last gathering that we actually have they gave us like 25, 30 different nonprofit organizations come. So it's kind of like a meet and greet. So before you attend, they give you the list so you can do some research, which is what I did. And I have to be honest, there was organizations I'd never heard of before. So I looked at every single one of them, and I ranked who I really wanted to be with, what was a passion project, what was a human to human project, whatever was important for me. And I met people. I met all sorts of organizations, and I knew as soon as I met the board chair for the museum, I knew that that's where I wanted to be. And I don't know if I ever would have picked them because I didn't know the museum actually existed. So having the opportunity to having the pressure taken off of trying to figure out what organization I wanted to work with was absolutely a bonus. And that was one who was there. But I'm also in talks with another organization that's a little bit bigger. And they were not on the list. But through my conversation with my mentor, I got an invitation to have conversations with them. So just having that support of not knowing I don't have to know everything. I have people who will help me and answer questions if I have them. So that was the best, absolutely the best. And I treasure every moment that I've had with the museum. I've treasured every interaction, and I would not have done any of that had I not said yes to Hoffman Haas.
Awesome. Thank you. If you can hang out for a minute in case there's questions, but next I'd like to talk with Brian. Brian, are you available to share your experience?
No, I'm not.
Oh dear.
Of course I am, Karen. I would love to talk a little bit about it. I don't know if I can follow Deb there, but I'll start by telling everybody a little bit about myself. I'm Brian Winslow. I'm the Executive Director of Philanthropy at St. Joseph Hospital down in Nashua, New Hampshire. As you can imagine, a large part of my job in philanthropy, which I've been a part of the nonprofit sector now for about 25 years, but a large part of my job in philanthropy is building networks and giving back to the community. So probably about 6 or 7 years ago, I was working up in the Lake region of New Hampshire at a visiting nurse association, and I had the opportunity to become a mentor. What were the requirements? That you'd served on boards and had some time to offer, and that fit my resume. So I was really excited about doing it, and quite honestly, I had been on a large number of boards before going through this program, and I can tell you, first of all, I was paired with a wonderful fellow. Kate Ruchnikova was her name, and we still stay in contact. She actually was pregnant at the time, so I got to be her mentor from the start of her pregnancy through the birth, which was wonderful. I wasn't in the room, just in case you guys are wondering, but it certainly was. It was fun to have that other aspect of the relationship. Kate actually was a mentor herself. I'll be honest with you. The relationship that we built while we were meeting a couple times a month with the program and then meeting separately for coffee for a while there, it was even once a week. She taught me so much. I don't know how to explain this. She would ask the right questions, fully expecting that I would know the answer, and I wouldn't. So I would have to pay attention during our programs, and I would have to do the research myself so that we can further the conversation that we were working on. And admittedly, a lot of the conversations that I had personally with Kate, it was about her building her own network. It was about finding her interests and her passions in the community so that she would be joining the right boards for the right reasons. But she had a lot of the structural questions that the program helped answer. I can tell you my favorite part. While the food was great, that of course that ranks up high for my favorite part. My favorite part was actually the programs and the discussion that they started. I was fortunate enough to know a number of individuals in the class. I worked closely with Margaret Frankhauser in my career, and she was one of the mentors as well. And I always love working with that person. So there was great discussions, and I can honestly remember spending probably 2 hours and usurping someone's presentation just to have discussions about the 3 types of what I call board leadership styles, because we were in a class where people understood operational approaches and they understood strategic approaches, but they didn't understand the generative approach, which in my mind is a place where we want our boards to be or be able to go to when we need them to go to. And I remember one of my favorite evenings and one of my favorite programs. We took 2 hours, and I would wager that the mentors in the room were either stuck in operations and strategy, and it was the fellows that were able to step outside of that box and talk about what generative thinking really is and show examples of. So I know it was 6 years ago and I'm old, but I distinctly remember that night. It was up in the Lakes region. It was at the Taylor community. And I remember leaving that session alone thinking how energizing that was. So I will echo what Deb says. If you have the opportunity to be a fellow or be a mentor, you will walk away with so much more than you came in with. And I myself thought I knew quite a bit. I learned tons, both from my fellow, but also from the program. So I give it, 2 thumbs up. And if anybody has any questions, I'm sure I can remember some of what went on there. So I would love to answer them, but I certainly would recommend, if you have the opportunity to do this, it's a wonderful program.
Thanks so much, Brian. So before we go into the details of the fellowship components and the application process, we'll pause for a few minutes for questions. Now, I don't know if there's anything in the chat or if you want to unmute.
Agreed. Food's important, Ryan.
Good segue for a quick question. Is it a one-to-one relationship between mentor and fellow, or does the mentor work with multiple fellows and vice versa?
That is a great question. And Brian and Deborah had different experiences. The plan for next year is to have groups, have teams of 5 or 6 fellows and 2 mentors, which we piloted last year. So Deborah, I don't know if you want to talk about the team.
Yes, and I just want to say that one of my mentors is actually here, Peggy Center. Hello, Peggy. Mwah. Yeah, it was honestly being in a group. We met every other week, so it wasn't too much for an hour. And we talked about, we had enough time to let the information sink into us from each session. And by the way, the presenters are amazing. And then have a conversation and learn from each other, learn from the wisdom of our mentors, and learn from the questions that we have and as a newbie, and learn from those who are learning or just getting comfortable being a part of the board. So I thought that was wonderful because the conversations were rich and the hour went by just like that. So it was actually something I was looking forward to attending.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Thanks, Karen. I just responded to Stephanie's question about the format of the program. So group sessions will be in person in Concord. Coaching sessions may be virtual. That's correct, Karen?
Yes, we're going to go through all of this in detail in just a minute.
And just one other question, how many mentors and fellows have been going through each year? I don't know if Kathleen, I know it's been a range over the years. Could you give a range?
Yeah, I mean, it has ranged. We think we will probably have a cohort of about 30 fellows probably this year. It's usually been somewhere in that 25 to 30 range in recent years.
Great, thank you.
Okay, so we'll go into the fellowship components. So most of the educational sessions, as Kelly said, are held in person at the New Hampshire Audubon's McLean Center from 4:30 to 7:30 p.m. The first session will actually be at the citywide Concord Community Center. Let's see, mentor coaching sessions are held virtually. The networking event for local nonprofits with board and committee opportunities where fellows can leverage their network will happen in June. And fellows are also considered members of the center for 1 year and will have access to online resources. So the mentoring experience is going to be teams, 5 to 6 fellows, 2 mentors. There'll be team activities in the educational sessions and the virtual mentor coaching sessions to reflect on the education that they've learned and their life experiences. The presentations will be led by several national experts. So Al Cantor of Allen Cantor Consulting will be leading the first session, which will cover why boards exist, how they carry out their work, and where boards sometimes go wrong. And he'll also be facilitating the second session, which will examine the different types of income streams, trends in fundraising, ambassador and fundraising responsibilities, board culture and impact on resource development, and the cycle of giving. The third session will be led by Steve Zimmerman of Spectrum Nonprofit, and that will focus on an exploration into fiscal strategy, demystifying financial management, organizational sustainability, and impact. The fourth session will be led by Susan Mayer of Susan Mayer and Associates, and that will provide a comprehensive insights and strategies for enhancing board effectiveness and leadership and partnering with the executive to steer the organization towards mission success. The fifth session is a little bit different. You'll be able to participate in a facilitated discussion with Hoffman Haas alumni to hear about real life board service. So what's it like to join a board? How did the fellowship help you? Have you maintained relationships? What surprised you? And more. And that'll be followed by the graduation ceremony. And finally, there'll be a networking event where you can meet with local nonprofits who have opportunities, and you can show off your newly learned skills. So how do you apply for the program? So there are several questions, including demographic questions, and you have the opportunity to upload a resume and or headshot if you're interested in doing that. And it's best to take these questions and think about them ahead of time. And then when you go to the SurveyMonkey link, you'll want to complete the whole survey in one sitting. So we're going to ask you things about, are you able to make the commitment? We'll ask you what your interests are. And we will ask you what experience and skills you can bring to the fellowship. And then what do you want to learn in the fellowship? So tuition for the fellowship is $1,000, and that includes 5 in-person educational sessions and all of the materials, and of course that delicious food, 4 virtual mentoring sessions, 1-year membership to the center, completion certificate and ceremony, and the nonprofit networking event. And we know that sometimes we need to look to different places to fund the tuition. So we suggest that you look at the following ways: a personal contribution. You can check with your employer and see if they have professional development funds or would support you in this fellowship. And if you're already serving on a board, you could check with that nonprofit and see if there might be board development funds. And then we also have partial scholarships available thanks to our program sponsors. And currently we have 2 sponsors, Merrimack County Savings Bank and Caros and Hart Consulting, and a few more requests out there for sponsorships to make partial scholarships available. So it can be one or a combination of all of these that help you fund the tuition. And when is the deadline? So the application is open now. You can find it on our website, and the applications are due by January 19th. We will be reviewing those and getting back to you by the end of January, and then registration and tuition will be due March 1st. So that is all of the information. And now we would love to hear what your questions are and be able to answer those. And I heard that Peggy has joined us from the last cohort. So if she has anything she wants to share, she's invited to do that as well.
Karen, there's a question here about whether or not the program would be appropriate for a new director of an organization with a board.
Can I jump in on that one? This is Kathleen. If I understand the question, I would make a little bit of a distinction. This is really for board leaders to understand and to be part of the board. So it's not geared for executive directors to learn how to manage and work with their boards. Amy, if you want to refine the question a little bit, that's fine. But in terms of how I'm reading the question, that may not be the right fit.
Yeah, that was what I was wondering. So thanks.
And there are a lot of other opportunities for executive directors in other educational programs, which we can talk to you about offline.
Great, thanks, Kathleen. Karen, there's a question about how many scholarships are available. I know that is dependent on sponsorship, so I'm not sure how accurately we can answer that at this point.
Well, we if people get selected for the program, we want to work with you to make it work. So we're hoping that you'll be able to seek out resources to help support your participation. And then the center is also seeking out resources.
Right. And so I loved what you just said, Karen, about we want to make it work if people are selected. So don't let the scholarship issue be a barrier in applying.
Both.
What other questions do we have?
Somebody asked in the chat, is the fellowship appropriate for existing board members? And we have had existing board members participate in the fellowship. Sometimes they have wanted to be part of it because they were taking on a leadership role. And so they wanted to be better prepared to be in that chair position. Sometimes they have just recently joined a board and really felt like they needed to get more information. So your level of board experience will be helpful as we review applications and sort of think about the various experiences that people bring to the fellowship.
Fantastic. Questions here about the selection process. What is looked for in an application, selection criteria?
So some of the things that we'll be looking for is people who definitely can make the commitment to be an active participant and who are really looking to serve on a New Hampshire board. We're hopeful that the majority of alumni are serving on New Hampshire boards. As Kathleen mentioned in the beginning, New Hampshire needs more than 30,000 board members. And when you're well prepared, you can really make a difference in your community. So we'll be looking at commitment. We'll be looking at matching teams. So we're looking for some diversity on teams with people with no board experience and some board experience, people from different areas around the state, people with different professional experiences and personal experiences that they can bring to the team experience. Kathleen, I don't know if there's anything you want to add.
I think you did. I think you did a great job there. I mean, it's sort of like looking to make sure that that this is the right program for you. Like if you're searching out a volunteer opportunity, this, you know what I mean? So understanding how your interests in the fellowship actually align with what the fellowship is.
Not seeing anything else at the moment. If there are more questions, please feel free to put them in the chat or just go ahead and unmute and ask your question.
Hi, this is Tina. I just got a question. So I want to make sure I'm just understanding this correctly. So we would have an in-person meeting And then we would have a virtual meeting after that in person to kind of discuss what we went over and dive deeper. Is that correct? Am I thinking about that right?
Yes, so the virtual meeting is with your team. So
Mhm.
you'll have other fellows and you'll have 2 mentors. And so I've been interviewing some of the team members, and my understanding is people can talk about real issues, and they really act as a sounding board where you can raise, questions or concerns about joining a board, or if you're on a board, things that are on your board, you can pose scenarios and just have a really good discussion about how you might handle this, or, resources or things like that. I see some people nodding. I don't know if Peggy, would you like to share something?
Yes, I think my chat app skills are rusty. I've been retired for 2 years. So I've been very honored to be able to be a mentor in both versions. So 2 years ago, it was the one-on-one matchup. And then last year we were in these small groups, which I mean, Deb, you're very kind. Thank you so much for all of all of your excitement. But my mentor partner, Wayne, really gets the credit for just saying this is how we're going to do this. So we just set a schedule of every other week, or the 2 weeks between the monthly group sessions, to get together, as has been described. I thought it was great. It was certainly a very different experience from the equal numbers of mentors and fellows. What was very interesting was when you had an equal number of mentors and fellows, you didn't hear as much from the fellows in the altogether big group presentations, those 5 that were described. And so I could feel some of the reasoning a little bit last year in changing it. So, there's fewer mentors in the room, and you really got some great discussion from the fellows. I thought that was a great change, actually. And in our small group teams, as Deb, I think, has said, it was just wonderful to hear what the fellows' questions were, and nobody was worried. When you're with 50 people, it can be a little bit, should I really ask this question, take up this time? But as Brian said, I loved what you said about your fellow. I was learning all kinds of things. I said, "Whoa, that is cool how they got that out of financial management. Let me look that up again." So I thought it was a great experience. I liked I especially liked having a 2 mentor team instead of, like, if it had been set up for one of us to lead a smaller group. I thought there was really good energy back and forth.
Thanks so much. Anybody else want to comment on the teams? Are there other questions?
Good
I'm
question.
not seeing anything we haven't responded to.
Did somebody just unmute? Ryan, was that you?
Yeah, I had a question. What does it look like when you complete the fellowship? Like, what does it mean to be an alumni, and how do you continue to foster engagement after?
That's a great question. I'm going to jump in because I have a little bit more history than Karen does. We have from time to time. So as Karen said, you're a member of the center for a year. We encourage you to stay connected with the center. There are many times that we provide special discounts for fellow alum. And from time to time, we have done some networking events, or, offered special opportunities for fellows to be there. They certainly are welcome at the networking reception as well. So we do try and stay connected. Some fellows have come back a few years later and become mentors as well. But so there's no real one uniform way for people to stay connected, but we do look to foster that. And as I think Deborah and others had mentioned, people often stay connected with their mentors long beyond the fellowship as well. And I don't think that relays to what you were talking about the alumni network, but you know, that those are a few things. Karen, you might have some other perspectives
Well,
as
I
well.
have seen it on LinkedIn that people put Hoffman, Haas
Yeah.
graduate on their LinkedIn profile. And I think since it's been around from 2014, that many people recognize what that means. And you'll definitely be invited to the networking event. Some alum get invited to be on the panel at the ceremony for the facilitated discussion. So there are official opportunities and then some natural opportunities that happen with staying connected with people who are in the program.
Ryan, you're also gonna see the real value, if you don't already recognize it, of the New Hampshire Center for Nonprofits. And that's gonna want to keep you engaged because they are truly a resource, whether you're a board member or whether you work for nonprofits. So even if it's unofficial, you know, I myself haven't identified as a Hoffman Haas mentor for years because it was a long time ago. I just looked it up. It was actually 2015, I think. It was a long time ago.
Second year.
Yeah, but I certainly, I mean, I see Karen all over the place. I've tried to be involved with the center. I know I did the grant workshop probably a couple years ago. It's a true resource, Ryan. So even if there's nothing formal, you will learn that it's important for you to stay connected.
Any other questions? Well, we want to thank you for your time and your interest in serving on New Hampshire nonprofit boards. The center does have a variety of resources in our resource center and programs in our events. And we invite you to stay involved. If you have any further questions, feel free to email me or give me a call. Happy to answer those for you, and look forward to reading your applications. Have a wonderful evening.
Karen, we'll be following up with the slide deck and the recording as well.
Thanks.
Correct?
Yes.
Excellent. Have a great evening, folks. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.